Hitting the record button this time. This might be a good one. Don't want it to be forgotten about. So real quick though, as I do every week, I'm curious what kind of wins we got. Who's got something fun to share? Who's got something really cool happening in their business? Whatever the case might be, something to celebrate. Let me hear it. Nobody's got nothing.
All right, I'll go.
Let's hear it, Bob.
I just went live with my rental property this past weekend, and it went viral. So I have one again this weekend coming up. The following week after that for a full week, 4-day break, and then 2 weeks after that booked up. So in 40 days, 31 days are booked.
That's your short-term rental,
Yeah.
right? An Airbnb property. Love it. Love it. And I'm excited to see you next week as well. I know you're gonna
I gotta work. I gotta work on the hairdo and the beard though, be as sexy as you.
Well, I mean, that's gonna be pretty hard to do. Terry, I see you got your virtual hand up. What's up?
Yeah, we got our ground up construction. We got it pre-sold, and we've got a multi six-figure non-refundable deposit from the buyers. So we've had 2 meetings with them to pick out their finishes and everything else. Everything's going great. So real happy on this one.
How'd they find you?
Pre-marketing by my real estate agent.
Okay. Love it. Love it. Anybody else got something fun to share? Something good? Personal life, business, whatever the case.
I'll share really quick. So this week I was interviewed for this financial magazine for my tax business.
Financial mag. Do we have a name of it, or are you going to leave us in suspense on that one?
I don't remember. Hold on.
Oh.
Financial services or something. I mean, it's not time yet, but those are coming.
I love it. I love it.
Or Fortune magazine. Those are coming.
And those of you guys that are coming next week, you're going to be graced with a pretty kick-ass presentation by Lorraine. She's actually going to be presenting on Thursday. So if you guys have never been at one of her presentations, webinars, that kind of stuff, strap your seatbelts on because she's pretty fun.
Thanks, Shawn.
We had 2 good things happen today.
I'm only got enough space for one, so. No,
all right,
go ahead. What are they? What are they? Let's hear
them. We met with a potential PML this morning, and they've agreed to work with us not only on private lending but on gap funding, and they have significant funding, so we're very excited about that. The second thing is this afternoon we signed a contract for a probate home, so we're going to buy another probate home, so we're in good shape.
Go back to the lender. Where did you initially find this at? How'd you build some credibility, trust, that kind of stuff with them?
It was a friend of Chris's. Actually, it was Chris's best man, guy Nathan. Oh, yeah. His dad is a fireman, retired fireman, and he was invested in some other things, and he's getting out, and he wanted to hear about ours. He heard from Chris's best man about what we do. And so we met with him and his wife for about 2.5 hours. We did a presentation off of PowerPoint. We showed our credibility packet. We showed our numbers, and showed like we showed you, Shawn, like the ability to borrow a significant amount of money and pay back the investors on time. So I think it's going to work out real well.
And then the probate deal, how'd that come about?
That's been ongoing since July, and we've been nurturing it and nurturing it and nurturing it, not only with the lead vault, but with live contact, working with this person who's got this issue with the house, and being able to make it personal, and without getting into any specifics, we're able to help her out. And one of the interesting things is the first time I met her at the house, she was sharing with me some of the files and saying, yeah, you know, the bank canceled the draft for my homeowner's insurance. And I said, well, when did that happen? She said about 3 months ago. And I said, you don't have homeowner's insurance on this house? And she said, no. So I acted like a really good contact and called my insurance person that I use. It was a Saturday afternoon. She happened to pick up the phone. I gave her the phone, and that afternoon she had homeowner's insurance. So we endeared ourselves to her. We showed that we knew what we were doing and we could get things done quickly. And it resulted in getting a signed contract today. So we're in great shape.
Man, that is a killer story. So you met her in June at the property, find out that she doesn't have homeowner's insurance before you're even making offers or trying to lock this thing up, help her fix a problem, put homeowner's insurance in place, to then nurture her for, what is that, 6-7 months,
Yeah.
to where she finally came back and said, now I'm ready to sell?
Well, she had to get the estate cleared up, and there were a lot of issues there. So in between all this, we were talking to her, and she would tell us, well, is this real when a probate lawyer says this? And we would say, no. That probate lawyer is not telling you the truth. You got to do this. You have to get this done. Ask them to do this. So we were kind of coaching her through the process. And again, it was trying to get trust, because this person's from a different state. It was just trying to build trust in her with us, that we were telling her the truth. Because when we first gave her our price, obviously she said, oh no, I can't go that low. And we found out why, and then we solved that issue. And so it was a work in progress. Chris and I really worked hard on this, and we're glad that we got it. And it's going to be a good amount of money, and it's going to be a fast project. And it's a good lesson for us that we have to nurture these people. And a lot of these people are getting screwed by people who don't know that process, that probate process, and they need help. So all the lead magnets that we have in place, we're just reconfirmed that with those lead magnets we have are really valuable. And even though someone's a lawyer, it doesn't mean Shawn, I'll fill you in more, you guys, next week about it. But some of the stuff these lawyers were telling her to do, and I looked at her and I said, there's no way. I said, look, whether you work with us or not, you got to get this fixed.
I love it. I love it. That is how many of you guys realize that leads today, right? Leads generated today don't necessarily mean closed deals today. Right? A lead today can literally be something for any time from today to infinity. And it really comes down, I mean, that is a powerful, powerful story right there. I can't wait to actually sit down next week and talk to you guys a little bit more about that. Real quick though, on that thought, Chris, the question I asked you via message earlier, write down all those things that the attorney was saying that was not true. Those are the types of questions I was actually looking for right there.
Gotcha.
Tony,
Shawn.
I see you on mute. Did you got something?
Question for you.
Go
So
on.
if somehow I can make arrangements to get there, I would be okay.
100%. You're on the list, and you're part of you're part of the family. So
Okay.
Come on, Tony, be my drinking partner.
That sounds like fun, Sal. Hey, and I'll have a
You, me,
probate
Chris, and
stuff for you.
Lorraine.
Huh? Okay.
okay.
Oh,
Who is iPhone? I see a virtual hand, and it says iPhone.
iPhone is Terry.
That's probably me. I'll take it down.
All right, thank you, caveman. Turn your technology off. All right, well, with that, let's go ahead and shift gears. We're going to get into some work today. Like I said at the start of this, we're actually going to roll up the sleeves and get into some work. But before we do that, before I give you kind of guidance on what I'm looking for you to do some work on, I want to revisit something. And for those of you guys that are coming next week, this is kind of like a pre-lead into a number of the different sessions that we're going to get into over the course of the 3 days there next week. So I'm going to kind of give you high level today. We're going to talk about some stuff. Those coming next week. Some of the work I'm going to have you do right now is actually setting you up to be able to put some things in place while we're together next week. But I want to start with going back to almost like back to the basics. You guys hear me talk a lot about this, the customer journey. Sal, this like fits directly. I could tie a piece of everything on this screen to that story that you just told us right there. And if I had the whiteboard up right now, but I don't want to bounce between it, I would draw the customer journey is never straight, right? I know this diagram looks like it's a straight line right across, but in reality, if I were to actually draw what the customer journey looks like, it's never this, right? It's never this linear, just straight through process. It's actually more like this. Their journey along this path, right? They've got high points, they got low points, they're thinking about what they're trying to do. Sometimes, how many of you guys have ever had this idea like, oh, I need that product, I need that service? I know I do this all the time. An idea comes to my mind, I'm like, oh, I need to jump on Amazon and look that up, or I need to jump on some other website and look this up. And then I get sidetracked because I'm doing something else, right? And then I spend some time researching it, and then all of a sudden something else comes, right? And it takes a while before you ultimately make a decision, unless it's this super impulse thing, or unless we're far enough down the journey where we're in that 1 to 3% range of I need to make a decision because I need to make a decision right this second kind of thing. So knowing that our customer's journey is never linear, straight through, it's all over the place, I like to break it down into 3 very distinct categories until we get to this section right here. Everything from here forward is really designed for the 1 to 3% of people. The 1 to 3% represents those, in our case, those that are actually ready to sell their house right now, meaning they're hot, they're looking for the offer, they need to sell in the next 7, 10, 14, 21 days. We all agree with that. Yes, quick thumbs up for those of you guys that are on camera. Everything prior to that is really 97% to 99% of the people that we talk to. They fall in one of these 3 categories, and sometimes they're bouncing between the 3. And the very first category right here is the awareness phase. And what's actually happening in this awareness phase? This is where interest and awareness of you is starting to set in. Awareness for the seller, right? We're talking all real estate here. Awareness for the seller is that there is this other way of doing what they otherwise thought was a traditional way or the only way. It's funny to think, but still in 2023, people still believe the only way to sell their home is to either list it for sale by owner or put it on the market with a real estate agent. Can we agree with that? Yes? Like the bulk of people still, for some reason, think that that is the only way. That any way outside of that is a scam. It's not legit. It's weird. I don't know if I trust it. All these type of things, right? Can we all agree with that? So when they become aware or interested in this other style, this other way, that's when they first entered the journey with you, okay? And some ways that people become aware and start to build this interest, and I know this might be small. I can post this image in the Facebook group later for you guys to get it, but some easy things to think about. It's stuff like social media, email, YouTube, maybe you're running TV, billboards, online display. Your first form of marketing to them is really just designed to get awareness. If you're doing YouTube videos and they're doing some research on there and they stumble on it, and YouTube actually comes over here on the second phase that I'm going to talk about here in a second. But the first time they watch the very first video, that's their awareness phase of you. If they're driving around town and they see a billboard and it catches their eye, they see a bandit sign, catches their eye. You're doing door hangers because you're still stuck on the old methods, right? You're doing direct mail and putting things in their mailbox. The first time they come in contact with it, there's the awareness phase happening. Nothing more, right? If we're running paid ads, the first time they see your ad, it's awareness. Right? all of this is just catching their attention, making them aware of us. They are at what we call the bottom of the customer journey. Nobody goes from awareness to making a decision, right? The conversion up here at this end. Nobody goes from there to there off of one thing. It typically takes something happening in these next two phases to move them on. Now, that time frame in Sal's story was months. But it could be a matter of days, hours, weeks. That makes sense, yes? So, when we move from awareness to the next phase, right? Once they become aware of us, now they're aware that there's something else out there. There's some other way of doing it. There's something else in their market. There's something else that they should consider, right? Based on their problem. Most people end up doing research on it. If I threw something out in front of you guys right now that was something unique, something you'd not really heard much about in the past, something that was, new to you, how many of you guys would just trust what I said and immediately go do it? How many of you guys would spend a little bit of time researching it, looking it up? Yeah, Jordan, thanks for being honest, going like that. Obviously depending on the relationship, right? But you guys don't know me, I step in and I'm running this training today. You have no idea who I am. I start telling you a bunch of this stuff that sounds really cool, but you've never heard of it before. How many of you guys are just going to jump on it? No, most people are going to go and do some research, right? And that's what we call findability phase. The findability phase of the customer journey, this is where they are doing their research. They are searching. This is where our organics, our PPC, our maps, directories. I added some fun stuff on here like apps near me, GPS. I'm going to be talking about some of this stuff next week. Some technology that's out there that we've got our hands on to play with, to get in, to be discoverable, right? Because in the findability phase, this is where they're doing research. And I always ask this question, who are they finding? Because if they came aware of you from something over here, you got a list, you cold called them, you dropped some direct mail in their face, right? You got them aware of you, they start doing research, who are they finding? Because if they're not finding you, that means they're finding who? Somebody unmute and tell me.
Our competition.
100%. And we wonder why. I hear this a lot from real estate people. Shawn, I'm doing all of this stuff, right? And the stuff actually ends up being this awareness marketing. I'm sending direct mail. I'm doing cold texting. I'm doing cold calling. I'm beating the crap out of it. I was having a conversation on Facebook yesterday. I'm making hundreds of offers a month, but I can't seem to get anything to work. It's because we're trying to rely on our awareness phase to generate the conversion, when I already know that the majority of people are going to the next phase. Once they become aware, they're going here to findability. They're in the research mode. And they might research you directly, which is this third tier, reputation. Because typically, once we discover something and we do our research on it and we think that, okay, this is the right choice, I'm going down the right path, our natural instinct is to go and research the options that we're seeing and finding, even if it's a referral. Right? Jordan and I were talking about this last week. He refers people over to us quite frequently. We love it when you guys refer people to us because we get to take care of you in exchange for that. But Jordan refers a lot of people over to me. And every time I get on a call with somebody that Jordan refers over, they tell me that they ended up doing their own research prior to getting on the call with me. Meaning, even though they got referred, they became aware that REI Toolbox exists. They may not have done this, the findability. They might not have searched for other marketing agencies. They might have kind of slid past this phase and went into the reputation side of it. They started doing their research on REI Toolbox. And this is where your blogs, your reviews, your social media, This is where this all comes into play. And then once they kind of get through this reputation phase, and again, I'm going really high level because we are going to go deeper into all of this next week for those that are at the event. Once they go through that reputation, that's when they move into this next phase. And it might be hard to see on this diagram, but I have it kind of bracketed up here, and it says contributes to the next decision. This is where they go into the conversation. This is where they start thinking about purchasing. In our case, they're hiring our service. They're doing business with us. They're going to discuss us having an offer with them. They're setting up a time for us to come out and take a look at their property, right? If we were selling physical property products, this is where they're maybe purchasing on our app or going to our store and purchasing. And then the final, right after this money's exchanged, deals done, products purchased, that's when they actually move into the advocacy stage. And this is all based on their experience. And I'm not going to go deep on the experience side, right? Post-purchase, post-doing business. Sal, you got somebody to this point, conversion, they were talking to you, right? They actually experienced a little bit of post-purchase without even purchasing. I can almost guarantee if we were to actually go get that person, put her in front of us and ask some questions, a reason she stayed in the mix, stayed being nurtured by you, stayed reaching out, stayed getting advice from you and moving forward, ties all the way back to the day that you put her in touch with somebody, was able to take action, help her fix a problem that she didn't have or didn't know that she really had a big problem around instantly with no ask behind it. All right, now that doesn't happen all the time. But it's those things, once we get to this end, that really start to help feed back to this, because they eventually refer, they eventually talk nice, right? They eventually say stuff, which then brings people aware and moves people through this whole thing.
Shawn, just to add something to this training, and I learned this all my years in corporate, but also from you, that we got to listen. We have to listen to the client, and then you look for the opportunities to try to help them. And you said something a long time ago, forget about the deal, try to help the client, and that gives them trust in you, in what you're doing. So all I did was, Chris and I both, we did a lot of listening to her. And when we saw something, said, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense, because what you were talking about, where we offered stuff, it happened 2 or 3 times, and I'll share more next week. And it just kept building the confidence level, because she was not going to work with us when it was in June or July. She was not.
Now, I want to highlight one more thing, and then I'm going to give you guys some stuff. Actually, you guys are going to do some work here. Right here, this kind of pivotal stage between reputation and the conversion side. On this diagram, it's like real quick, right? They're doing some research on us. They're deciding if we have the reputation that they want to work with. And then it's, the next stage of this is conversion. But there's a big gap actually right here. And this is your sales process. Or in our case, in real estate, sales equals acquisition. And I'm going to go really deep next week in a presentation on how to set this up for success. How to set an acquisition process up that from the second somebody starts to do some research and says, hey, James, hey, Sal, hey, Tony, hey, Kim, whoever, I want to talk to you. I want some more information on this. From that point forward, we're almost building for this right here, the money to be exchanged, the deal to be done. Because this has its very clear process, no different than this does right here. Does that make sense? Yes? That's what I mean by a lead is created right here. When they cross from this kind of 97% window into the conversion phase, that's a lead. Nothing more than a lead. And if you guys were on the training a couple weeks ago when I talked about the difference between a lead and a prospect and the 5 stars, the 5-point star prospect, and what each point, this is when all of that's happening right here. And that's got its own, that's a whole animal in itself, right? But in the case of marketing, advertising, building the brand recognition of our business, this is the key area to focus all of it on. Awareness, findability, right? We know they're going to search, and the research of us, the reputation of our business. As a marketer, if I focus on these three, I will set my sales process up with consistent flow. Everybody tracking on this? Yes, quick thumbs up, just make sure everybody's on the same page. Cool. Anybody got questions on this before I shift our gears here a little bit? Questions, thoughts, comments, anything?
Shawn, I got a question for you. As far as the reputation portion of it, let's say we do have leads that we've worked with that really liked working with us, but we weren't able to get to a deal. But for example, this last lead that I had couldn't come up with the number that would satisfy them, but they're open to working with me in the future for additional properties that they have as part of a large inheritance. So as far as reputation is concerned, obviously, continue to nurture them, keep in touch with them and whatnot. But at what point can you ask for some sort of a review that you can use? Only after a transaction is completed, or can you even do that even if a transaction hasn't been completed?
Great question. And I'm going to give you a simple answer because we are going to go pretty in depth on this next week. You should be asking for testimonials, reviews, whatever word, good vibes back to me. Hey, what did you, like about me? However you want to phrase that, right? You should be asking for those every step of the way that it makes sense. So in that person's case, you get to a certain point, you hit the roadblock. Hey, we can't make this deal work, but they're thrilled. They're still happy. They've got other opportunities that they're, already coming out and saying, we might be able to do something with you on these. Great. James, can I ask you a question? Would you mind? Just tell me, what do you love the most about us? What's been so great about working with us? I know we couldn't get to this deal because I'll tell you right now, if you started having reviews that even said that, I wasn't able to do the full transaction with James and his company. We weren't able to come to an agreement on something. However, James and his team and his professionalism and the fact that they actually care more about the deal and making it a win-win for everybody versus just making something happen to line their pockets, those are actually going to be more powerful than the person that's like, I sold my property to James. It was amazing. He took care of me the entire way. Does that make sense? Every step of the way. And here's the thing, guys, reputation doesn't necessarily mean just to the seller. Think about all the people you come in contact with for business that could give a good word about you. Your contractors, your lenders, your suppliers, your closing attorneys, your closing companies, right? The title office, your bankers, anybody that you conduct business with. I'm going to kick my butt for saying this, so don't reach out to me, right? Don't all of you come flooding me just because I say this. But very, very few of you have ever asked myself, Roger, we work with you guys very closely. None of you have ever asked us to give you a review. Everybody that you've ever come in contact or continue to come in contact with in your business is a great candidate on that reputation side. Doesn't just have to be the person you sold the house to or represented on the listing or manage their rental property or wholesale a deal to. Does that make sense to everybody? So I want to start here first. We're going to start at the awareness phase. Awareness is all about generating interest and attention. If I were to rewrite that word, not put awareness twice on there, attention and interest. And we know that this is things like our social campaigns, our email or text or phone campaigns, our YouTube or video ads, displays, these type of things. I want you guys to take about 2 minutes and just make a list of all the things that you feel like you could be doing in your business. I don't care if you're doing it now, not doing it, whatever the case. Just make a list of the things that you could be doing on a consistent basis that would help generate awareness and interest. Think of it from that lens. And I'll be quiet as I can during that time. If you got questions, unmute and ask, but take a few minutes and write that out. All right, take like another 30 seconds or so. And then who wants to volunteer to be on the hot seat? I shouldn't actually call it the hot seat, even though it kind of is. Who wants to volunteer to be the one to gain the most value? Because when you're on the hot seat, you actually gain the most value. James and Kurt, I'll let you both play. So James, go first. Spit out, what are some of the ones that you came up with? You're muted, by the way.
Okay, sorry about that. So obviously create more awareness about us, provide information to prospective leads on probates, inheritance, repairs, types of things that can happen with the house, or reasons why you might want to sell, possibly even team up with local businesses that might be the subject matter experts, like let's say a probate attorney or something like that, or just not off the top of my head. More video content going over the process of selling to a cash buyer, types of deal structures that might be available besides just a cash offer, and then going on the testimonials, sharing testimonials from past clients via video or audio or something like that. That's what I got.
Okay, Kurt, what'd you come up with? And then James, I'll come back to you first on some stuff.
I had the testimonials, requesting more testimonials. That really spoke to me, on reviews and social media, and creating more content for our executive rentals on YouTube, and getting our name out there more that way.
Okay, I just realized we had two Kurts on. Curtis Hallmark was the one that I saw the hand go up, but Kurt Finch, those were awesome ones as well. So Curtis, I'll go full name instead of abbreviating it there. Curtis, what did you come up with?
All right, we do a lot of direct mail campaigns, so I think we need to increase our follow-up on those, maybe add some additional touches. I think we need to energize our website. We've sat down and our website, we do a blog every week. So we're trying to show that we're present, but we're not doing the other things. We don't have the testimonials. We've got a couple of them, but we need to get more. We just need to energize our website. We need to, we've kind of gotten away from our social media presence. So we need to get back to our social media activity. We need to reach out to one of the targets we have is probate. So we need to reach out to some of the probate attorneys, make them aware of us. So there's potential of referral. And then of course, request testimonials at additional spots. That's something that we hadn't really considered.
Okay. Before I go any farther, I want to clarify something. I wrote web and blog over here under search, right? When we start thinking about website or blogs, these type of things, this is what helps us become discoverable, right? Of course, if they're already in this phase, maybe somebody else made them aware. Maybe your competition made them aware. They're not necessarily even aware of you just yet, and they're doing searching. This is what helps us become discoverable, which the first time they see it, they actually come here, but they found us over here in the search phase and get back there. So I just want to be clear that when we talk awareness, right, when I'm talking about awareness level marketing, I need to be really kind of focused on what marketing does what job, because each piece of marketing kind of holds its own purpose, so to say, right? A newsletter, you know, Kurt Finch, you said you guys put out, and I know you guys do a pretty good job sending out emails, these newsletters, these type of things as well. A newsletter is great, but typically they're already aware of me because I already have something from them to be able to get that newsletter in front of them. If I'm doing a physical newsletter, I've got a mailing address, or if I'm doing an electronic newsletter, I've got their email address, right? So they're already kind of deeper down that piece. Curtis, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask something related to what you're talking about. One of the things when I mentioned re-energizing our website is with our blog. We want to have more for our target niches, you know, which we're going to, you know, have one or two. We want to use that to increase our reputation. We want to have articles that not only articles, but you know, tabs on the page that potential sellers can go to get more information, not necessarily from talking to us, but going to our website and looking at our website as a source for information that's important to them. I would think that would help our reputation as long as we have good information.
100%. That's why I moved. Blog fills both of these two gaps, right? And again, I'm not saying that you're wrong, Curtis. I'm just saying blog, website, right? That's actually more on the search, the findability phase of the journey. And the first time that they find our website, our blog, whatever the case, it's actually they hit this awareness phase and into this search phase simultaneously. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And yes, the blog then builds the reputation. If we're putting out very informative blogs, that's building the reputation that we actually know what the heck we're talking about. We're knowledgeable, right? We've got some education behind us. We're not the one hit wonder. We actually have, you know, a solid reputation in the sense that we know what we're talking about in this industry. Okay. From an awareness side, though, a couple things that between James, Kurt, and Curtis that you guys threw out that are really I highlighted them here is these three: video, direct mail, reach out. I put reach out because you were saying like, hey, I need to reach out to other attorneys on the probate side. I need to reach out to probate attorneys so they become even aware that we exist. I know Chris and Sal, you guys have been doing a lot of this reach out program and really trying to build things around educating, bringing awareness to the attorneys in the Houston area for you. James, I'm going to come back to you. You spit out a bunch of stuff on there, and there was good things. I just didn't hear any actionable piece behind it. So my follow-up question, James, would be, of all the stuff that you just said, the biggest one that comes to mind is, how are you going to achieve those things? Because you said some really good stuff on like, hey, this is what I should be doing. But the piece that's missing is how is that going to get achieved? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So just take like the first two on your list that you read. What were they again?
So first two, create more awareness of us, and
Actually, let's stop there. That's a really
Okay.
good one, right? Create more awareness of us. I 100% agree with you. That's what we're talking about in this whole thing.
Right.
My follow-up question would be, how are you going to do it? How are you going to create more follow or more awareness of you?
So one, create more content, not only for social media, but also for YouTube that can be uploaded into the website. And now that we got our business profile on Google approved, I've been going in and adding the mini blogs to that, which link back to the website.
Okay. What was your second one on the list?
Provide information on the probate process, inheritance, so on and so forth.
How do you achieve that?
So again, going back to content, talking about what the process is, even if it's in bullet points or in video or actually all of it. And if necessary, team up with a local probate attorney and leverage them as the subject matter expert as well to learn from them, or even be able to use them as a referral.
Okay, I'm gonna go to the bullpen here for a second because I got a reliever in the bullpen that I know can come in and throw the one strike I need right now. Does that sound good? That bullpen person or persons that I need to throw me that one strike. Chris or Sal, you guys unmute. Everything James just said, you guys have done something that achieved just that. Information on the probate process.
Lead magnets.
How are you guys doing it?
Right now, lead magnets.
There it is. That's the strike I was looking for.
And the lead magnet is predicated on figure out what the avatar's problem is and then give them a solution. And
what is the lead
solution
magnet that you guys developed to deliver that information that James was just asking?
I think we did 4, didn't we?
The main one is the probate timeline process. That's our
There
most
it is.
popular one.
Probate timeline process specific to their market.
Yeah, the other one was resources for probate executors. We did something like that. We did how to deal with an inherited house. You know, there's 4 of them, but the main one is the probate timeline, because that's the first problem people ask. How long is this going to take? What's involved? What's my step? And they don't know.
Here's the fun thing. These two phases almost can go hand in hand. What brings awareness to us a lot of times is the same thing that people are out searching for. Remember, we're talking to the 97% of people. They haven't even started to formulate the idea that they're actually going to sell this property, sell it to you, sell it for cash. The ones that are already at that phase, that's not who we're talking to here. Everybody's still tracking on that, right? 97% of the people that are out there, they're in these two phases before they even pick up the phone and get to us. They're doing research. They're digging around. They're looking online. They're searching for things. They're asking questions. They're talking to the people that they trust, or talking to the people that they think they have to talk to because that's the only way that they know. I got a probate house. I got to go talk to a probate attorney, right? So if we focus on how do I generate awareness? What are tangible tactical things that I can do to generate the awareness? The majority of the time, these are going to be something that can become discoverable when they're in the research phase. Videos, I put it up here at the top because I 100% believe in 2023 and going forward, and I'm going to talk a lot about this when I talk about the state of marketing in 2023 next week. video, 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 video. If I didn't say it clear enough, video. Right behind that, the Google Business Profile, direct mail, social media. This is where people are paying attention. Some of you guys have seen me do the presentation before where I told you the number of Google searches in a second and a minute and a day and all that stuff, right? People are online. The Google Business Profile, Google is just pushing it even more and more. Social media, they're on social media. We already know this. And direct mail, I'm still a major proponent in it when done correctly, layered the right way, because it's the only surefire way that I can put something directly in front of somebody. Targeted, right? So all of these are great ways to build the awareness that then come over into the search side. The only thing I'm going to add to the search box right now, and for those coming next week, I'll dig deep into this where it'll make a little bit more sense. Display and apps. These are two new areas from a marketing standpoint that it used to be you have to have a big marketing budget to be able to play in these arenas. And it is getting easier and easier and easier as things go on. This is part of that state of marketing in 2023 I'll talk about. How many of you guys, let me ask this question actually. James, Lauren, because I know you deal with this avatar quite a bit. Chris, Sal, what's the average age of somebody going through that pre-probate, probate, senior transition? What's the age group of that avatar?
Around 55.
55 and up.
Yep.
Does everybody else agree with that? If I had to say, pick a social media platform that somebody 55 and over is on, which one is it?
Facebook.
Yeah, they're probably not cruising Instagram. TikTok, I keep talking about it. We just haven't fully gotten enough data to put my full stamp on it, even though I have generated motivated house seller leads off of TikTok for our own business.
I do have one thing to say about that, though. My 75-ish year old cousin, she's not really on Facebook a lot because she's got a 50-year-old child who is more Instagram. So now she's doing more Instagram. So don't discount that.
Interesting. I'm not discounting it. I wouldn't say it's the norm, right? There's always going to be the exceptional rule. There's always 10%.
Yeah,
The
but
norm,
remember,
though,
that's going to start becoming a trend because those 75-year-olds have kids and grandkids.
correct. But where else is that 55 and up person hanging out? Because they don't live on social media. Who's ever seen, I'm thinking of my grandmother right now. She sits around at home in the evenings by herself. She's got her little iPad. And there's things that she does on her iPad that has nothing to do with Facebook, even though she is all over Facebook quite frequently. Anybody know what else that 55 and up, 60 and up, 70 and up person that's playing around on their tablet, where are they at?
Audio books.
Audio
Those
books?
games, those little games, right?
Games.
My mom's on them all the time.
Paint by numbers. The game where they click the different colored boxes and it all collapses, right? These type of things. This is where they're hanging out. And a lot of those free apps are free for one reason. Can anybody tell me why?
Ads.
Ads. You can have the app for free, as long as you don't mind periodic what?
Advertising.
There's a golf game I play on my phone that like every 2 holes I have to sit and wait for 30 seconds to go by because 2 15-second ads have to run, right? And I can get rid of them if I want to pay for the game. But why do I want to pay for the game? I just turn my attention to something else for 30 seconds. And every once in a while, an ad actually catches my attention. But that's why they're free. Well, I'm going to talk next week how we actually become discoverable in apps. More specifically, how we become discoverable in almost 700,000 potential mobile apps. And I forget the stat off the top of my head, but it's in my slide deck. It's up there. It's above 65%. I think it was 68 point something or 69 point something percent of people spend more time in apps than they do on social media.
Yeah.
So when we become discoverable, that's great as long as we have stuff for them to become aware of us by. And that's where all the awareness phase kind of ties back in. That's why I separate it to teach this, but in reality, these two are happening simultaneously. They're finding us, they're becoming aware of us. They're finding us, they're becoming aware of us. They become aware of us, they dig deeper into us and research us and continue to search other things. And who's ever heard the saying, the squeaky wheel gets the grease? The squeaky wheel is this right here. When they are searching and doing more research, if they constantly keep finding you everywhere they search and look, are you becoming the squeaky wheel in their existence? 100%. And on top of this right here that I'm going to talk about next week, we've got some new technology coming in that once they become aware of you, once they become discoverable, once they get right here to your website, we can literally lock in on them and never let them out of our view for the next 30 days and try like crazy to become the squeakiest squeaky wheel they've ever seen. And when the same brand is in your face all the time, do you end up doing research on the brand? And that's what moves them to the reputation phase.
Can I add some? I can agree with that. I like coffee, and I'm into, roasting coffee and things like that. And I saw an ad on coffee, a possible roaster, and I clicked on it, and that's come up the last few days.
Mm-hmm. How many of you guys have ever made this statement? I swear my phone or my devices are listening to me. I simply say something and now I see it everywhere. Well, there is some truth to be told about the and I know Bob's gonna, Bob's like scratching to come out and tell me all the reasons why. I'm not talking about the saying part, right? Chances are, yes, I'll say it real. So yes, it does listen. I'm not going to go into that side of it. We're not talking that type of marketing, but you've said that because you've also probably have looked something up around that. Tony, you love coffee. You love coffee makers. You love roasting coffee. I guarantee you've researched all kind of stuff around coffee, right? Part of this whole search discoverable aspect, right? It's not just SEO for the search engine of Google or Bing or Yahoo, but some things that are coming that are really fun that I'm excited to put into place for my own real estate stuff and our AI toolbox business and all the other stuff that we're involved in. If I know I want to target Tony, I'm selling coffee roasters and I want the Tonys of the world. I know Tony's out there researching this stuff. I don't even have to wait for Tony to land on my website to retarget him and chase him. I can simply target the keyword. And Tony, just because you searched the keyword, I can now start to chase you even in mobile apps. I know you like, Tony, if I asked you, what's the best coffee roasting machine out there? Name the brand.
I really don't know, but the one I'm looking at is like $1,200 and it's IKAWA or something like that.
Okay,
That's pretty interesting.
IKWA. If I'm going to step into the coffee roasting business, IKWA is the top of the chart. How many of you guys remember I asked you who's your competition a couple weeks ago? If I'm stepping into the coffee roasting world, IKWA is my competition. Make sense? They're the big boy. That's who I want to compete against. We'll go deeper into the technology. Today, I wanted to go more into the philosophy and what you guys need to be thinking about. We can actually target IKWA, and anybody searching the IKWA brand, I can start to put marketing materials in front of. They're not even searching for me, they're searching for IKWA. And I can get there off of them. I can get people, I can get people over here and aware of me. And that's sexy and that's fun. And some of you guys are probably like, holy crap, this is amazing, right? But that only works if I actually have stuff when I get them aware of me, if I actually have stuff for them to become aware of me with. So square one, we've got to say, what are the things that I can be doing more consistent? So you guys have all made a list, right? And I want to be respectful of our time. I know we got a couple minutes over here. You all have your list. For those coming next week, there's one action item I need you to do before Tuesday when you walk in that room. I need you to take a look at that list, and I need you to commit to 2 to 3 of those things that you put on your list. That when I say consistent, I mean you can do them 5 to 7 days a week, 52 weeks out of the year. That's consistent. 2 to 3 things to help get more awareness and search discoverability that can happen minimum 5 to 7 days a week, 52 weeks out of the year. If you had those 2 to 3 things, we can build on that throughout the course of 3 days. Sound good? Those not coming next week, by the way, there won't be any call like this next Wednesday because we will be in Phoenix. Maybe I'll have Roger launch the call in the back of the room. You guys can jump on Zoom for the hour. So I don't know what session's happening during that time, but we'll see. But for the most part, everybody that shows up on these calls is going to be in the room. So there'd be like 1 or 2 of you guys there. There's still room at the event, by the way. We've still got open seats. We ended up with a bigger room. I got more space. So if you're not registered for the event, you want to come to Phoenix for the week next week, hang out with us, you're more than welcome to join on that. But those not coming, think about those. Think about those 2 to 3, and we're going to pick this kind of conversation up the week after the event. Sound good? So with that, I know some of you, if you got to jump, I want to be respectful of the time. Feel free to jump. Those that are coming next week, I'll see you there. I'll hang out here. If you guys got some questions, comments, thoughts, anything you need some clarity on, feel free, shoot it out. I'm just going to grab a seat right here. Let me know what you got.
Lauren, I'm going to shoot you a message if that offer's still open for me and Jacob to be able to split cost with you there. Cool. So we're bringing this list that we just made out to Phoenix.
You can bring the whole list. Really, I just need to know what are the 2 or 3.
It's on a scratch pad, bro. I'm bringing the scratch pad.
Go for it, dude.
Should I bring swimming trunks? Because I plan on getting a tan with this West Virginia body.
Well, you're hanging out for a few days after, so sure, there is a pool and I believe a hot tub at the house.
I might live there, actually. I don't have a return flight yet.
Well, you can talk to Marie what she charges for long-term rent.
Not affordable for this hillbilly, probably.
Because I
Jordan,
hand
you
over
snore?
the keys. I hand over the keys on March 3rd.
I'm just sick of the freaking cold, and it's 70 today, but it's 40 yesterday. I can't. I'm over this shit already. I'm ready to get the hell out of here.